Hi everybody, it is the 15th of August and I am here busily trying to pack my kiln. So I'm getting some pots ready, and with these guys, these are GP bowls, and what I'm doing is putting some banded lines using a cobalt mixture for the decorating. So I'm just going to center that up. This is a mixture of cobalt oxide 25%, iron oxide 25%, manganese dioxide 25%. Yeah, and 25% dry crushed porcelain body. It's a recipe of my dad's actually. So I'm just putting 2 lines here. I can hear Harry's lawnmower around the corner. I hope he doesn't come up here. Two lines, and then it's not so easy to decorate inside a bowl because you're sort of working on the inside face, and it's not that easy, I have to say. So basically I put 4 flecks. The thing about working with pigments, you really want to make sure that you get the strength of the pigment right. That's sort of, there's basically 2 things to bear in mind, I suppose. One is the strength of the pigment. You get that right. You don't get it too weak and you don't get it too strong. That's one thing. The other consideration is when you're doing this kind of decoration, you don't want the brush too wet, too much water in it. Neither do you want it too dry. If it's too wet, well, obviously it's going to run off the end of the brush. It may run onto the pot. It might drip. You're not going to get a nice clean line or a nice clean decoration if you're using a brush that is overloaded with pigment. Conversely, if your brush does not have enough pigment on it, you're going to run out of pigment. Like for example, when I'm doing this banded line, like I'm going to do now, I won't be able to make it all the way around. The brush will run out of pigment before I get around to the other side. So that's things to think about. So this is one of these, I'll just show you, one of these banding wheels that, you see what I'm doing with my fingers? That's how I spin it, underneath like that. So you want to get one of these. This is the best way to, you can go like this if you want to. It's just easier having your left hand here underneath, and I can motorize it, as it were. So, center, tap center, learn to tap center. Got to learn to train your eyes, you see. That's going to take you more than 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm holding the brush here, I'm leaning against the side here, I've got my brush hanging over across, and I'm going to put one line there. And another one which tends to be a slightly finer line just below it. There it is. Okay. Now, are we in the picture? I hope we are. Here comes the Harry. No, Harry. I knew it. It wasn't Harry, actually. My other neighbour, Dana. And he's going up through, out the back there, so that's good. So, that's those guys. I've done that board now, you see, so here's a little comment to make of it what you will. Ooh, I don't know if that's visible, is it? That's better. So you see here where I have a broken line, okay? Now if you get a broken line like that, that is good, don't worry about it, okay? A broken line is more lively than a solid line, if you understand me. So if you get a little break like that, a little small break, don't sort of be tempted to think, oh, I've got to fill that in, you know, I've got to fill it in. No, not at all. It's more lively if you have a slightly broken line. It gives a little feeling of, I don't know quite what, but it does. No, it gives a little bit of a sort of natural look to it. Let's try and see if we can get this. Of course, the camera compensating for the extra light over here, and it's bleaching it out slightly. Maybe if I put the camera, yeah, maybe I should do that. Hang on, folks, don't go away. That might be better like that. I've got the light behind me then, haven't I? Ooh. Okay. Squeeze in. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna knock that camera. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah. Really, in terms of I don't know, here's an example of a bowl that is very slightly rocking. That means it's higher there in the middle than it is on the sides. It's not something that we really like, because it means that the pot may rock a little bit. Alright, let's just get a little bit of pigment here, get some water flowing. Again, bearing in mind what we talked about, don't want it too strong. It's looking a bit strong there. Okay, now So a good place to start, you know, you might be thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I couldn't ever do any brushwork. I'm not talented with a brush. I was never any good at art at school. I couldn't use a brush. If you're thinking those thoughts, I want you to take those thoughts and trash them immediately, because that is garbage. You can do it. And a good place to start is with banding, like this. Because it'll teach you just the basics about using a brush, how to load a brush up, how to mix the pigments. So that's where you really want to start. I'll be honest with you, I don't find brush decoration that easy. People say to me, oh Simon, you're so talented with your brushwork. But I sort of think, oh gosh, do you really think so? Okay, well, thank you. But so it is not easy to get brushwork. We tend to, you see, be a little bit heavy-handed with the brush, and you have to lighten up a bit, you know, just be a little bit, you know, like a grass in the wind, sort of learn to blow a little bit. Don't be too tight. And it's very difficult to, I think Oriental people, they're born with a brush in their hands, as we are not. We are born with a stylus in our hand. Well, we used to be. I don't know if kids are these days. I even heard it. Somebody told me the other day that kids these days don't know how to write properly because they're so used to tapping on a screen with their fingers. They don't know their writing skills are disastrous. Oh yeah, somebody said as well they don't know how to hold a pair of scissors to cut. So anyway, the thing is to sort of loosen up a bit. And I might add that trying to loosen up in front of a camera is not always easy either. So I'm just doing this simple fleck. Simple fleck. Yeah, but do have a go. Or what I'm trying to say, the message I'm trying to tell you is that please have a go at doing brushwork and don't think that it's something you can't do, because you can. As with everything, a little bit of KP, you know, keep practicing. But to start off, get yourself a banding wheel. Like this. You want to learn to hold your brush steady, you see. As you spin the wheel, you apply the brush. It seems a bit daunting at first, but you know, once you take the plunge. Yeah, that's it. Take the plunge. That's what you want to do. And don't be a negative thinker. You can do it. Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you're going to make a little bit of a mess. That's the worst that can happen. That's all right. Just throw a few extra bowls so you can practice on them. So this is a cobalt blue, as I said, and I've added we add the iron oxide and the manganese to tone it down so that it's not so bright blue. Oh, but Simon, we like it nice and bright. Well, We don't like it too bright and violent blue. We like a little bit sort of toned down, you know. But if you don't like it toned down and you like it a kind of violent blue, then if you don't add the iron oxide or the cobalt, you'll get a very in-your-face blue. I suppose it's because personally I tend to prefer colours that are a little bit more subtle and a little bit more subdued. And if you use cobalt on its own, it's too powerful. And I don't like it. I prefer something a bit more subtle. So, but you have to make your own. You have to make your own decision on that one. Yeah, you want a steady hand when you're doing this. You don't want a hand that's going up and down like this. Otherwise you're going to get wavy lines. So I do one and then I do one right opposite. Work opposites when you're doing potting. If you're putting on lugs, handles, decorating, just you work opposites and then opposites again. 90 degrees, you see, to each other. Okay, I think we'll make this the last one. There's only so many of these that you're going to want to watch me do. These are, as I explained yesterday or the day before or the year before, or 10 years ago, I can't remember. But these are fired in the kiln like that, you see. So you see how the rolled rim acts as a good place for one to sit upon the other. Not only that, the rolled rim keeps it round. Not only that, the rolled rim gives extra protection to the lip of the pot from chipping. So that's why we do the rolled rims, you see. It's very functional in lots of ways, and it's also visually functional. It looks nice at the top of the pot. It adds a certain beefiness that we like. Okay, folks. Thanks for joining us for this short clip here, just doing some banding and just talking in very general terms about decorating. In terms of brushes and what brushes to use, we've always tended to favour and like these Japanese brushes. China make them as well, but we've always thought that the Japanese quality is better than the Chinese, and the brushes have more springiness to them, to the tips, than the Chinese ones. Chinese ones, unless somebody's got some good Chinese ones they can recommend, but I've always rather preferred the Japanese type. They call them, they have a name written on them, Sumi brush. You can probably get them from your pottery supplier. They come in different. This is a number 2, it says. Alright, so there's other brushes you can also use for doing other aspects of decoration. Broader, flatter brush. Here, for example, is a brush that I made up. It was made up from a It was one of these originally, and I broke off. I took just one of these off the side here. They come apart, and then I attached it to a kind of longer. It's got a bit of a floppy kind of end to it. I wanted something a little bit looser. So, yeah, you can be experimental. Other brushes that I have here. I mean, I go and get these kind of brushes as well. You know, surprisingly, these are cheapo brushes, you know, but you'll find that they're useful as well for doing certain things. This is a kind of interesting brush. Has a sort of tail at the end there. Okay. Yes. Okay, folks. That's it for now. That's it for today. Thank you for stopping by and watching me do some decorating, some banding. I've got other decorating to do as well. So go to my website, simonleachpottery.com. Come and join us for a workshop. Why don't you? Why don't you just? And we can play in the clay together. There's lots to learn, isn't there? A 2-day workshop, you're just scratching the surface, but you might find it useful. Check dates, August 25th and 26th, and then we jump to October 5th and 6th, and then later in October, and then November. Check the dates on my website. Hey, keep practicing, and I'll see you around town. Bye bye now.